Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Crystal, and if you're seeing my face for the first time, do consider subscribing. Now, as you can tell by the title down below, today I will be sharing with you guys how I was able to lose 30+ pounds within 8 months. 31 pounds to be specific. Now, clearly by the 8 months, you can tell that this is not a lose weight quick kind of thing. It will definitely take some time. And so if you're interested in hearing what I'm about to share, keep on watching. Now, I have narrowed down everything into 5 simple steps that I took. 5 simple steps. I am not going to make this video long and drawn out. The aim is to keep it under 10 minutes, and so we are gonna jump right in. Now, let me just say before I start that everything that I've listed here in those 5 steps are things that I have done prior. However, I've never done them together, if that makes sense. Now, step 1, of course, was doing 30 minutes of cardio at least 3 times per week. Now, of course, it can be more, but I did at least 3 times per week. There were weeks when I was in a good mood, I was in a good place, and I was like, let me do 4, let me do 5, but at least 3 times per week. Now, I started my journey in September of 2021. And I would say my journey came to an end. Not really an end, because of course there are things that I am still doing right now to maintain, but I got to my target weight May of this year. Well, technically you're probably seeing this video in 2024, which means I got to my target weight in May of 2023. All right, so I started out by doing 30 minutes of cardio 3 times per week. I did this at my school gym. For those who do not know, I am a teacher, and so I was able to utilize a gym that was at my workplace. I didn't want to pay for a gym membership, and at that time it was super cold in September, so I'm just like, we are gonna stay at work. So as soon as work was finished on a Monday, a Wednesday, or a Friday, I would just go straight there and I would get my cardio in. I only used the treadmill during that time period because I was not focused on building muscle or anything. I was just trying to shed the pounds. No, I will say when I use a treadmill, I did an incline of 10, I did a speed of 3.5, and I did this for 30 minutes as I stated before. Now, during that 30 minutes, I would try my best to speed it up at times. So I would speed up for 60 seconds 2 times every 5 minutes, if that makes sense. So between the first 1 to 5 minutes, like let's say at the 2 minute mark, 2 to 3, I would speed it up to 7, and I would run for 60 seconds, and then I would go right back down to 3.5. right when it gets to that 4 mark, I would speed it up again to 7. I would run until it gets to that 5 mark. I try my best to. I'm not saying I was consistent every single time, but that's something I incorporated in an effort to get my heart rate increased, and I feel like that helped tremendously as well, rather than just keeping that 3.5 speed through the entire 30 minutes. Right now, for this, I will say find what works for you. You do not necessarily have to do what I did. Everybody's body is different. Everybody's body responds differently to different stimulus, and so you have to find that sweet spot, find what works for you. But just ensure that whatever it is that you decide to choose, it must be rigorous. It cannot be a walk in the park. It has to be something where you're actually feeling it, you know what I mean? And if it gets to a point where you feel like your body has become accustomed to it, or you've gotten used to it, feel free to increase it, right, in intensity, so that you're able to sweat and you're able to feel it more. All right, now moving on to step 2. This was simply doing 10,000 steps every single day, and I did this Monday to Friday, so 5 days per week. I was very consistent in ensuring that I was able to do 10,000 steps. The weekends were here and there, but I got those in Monday to Friday in the work week. Now, typically at regular day at work, I would do 6,000 steps without even trying. And so there were times when I'd go to the supermarket after work, and I was able to use that time walking up and down the aisles to get that extra couple thousand in so I could make that 10,000. There were days when I didn't have an errand to do, and so I just walked during my lunchtime, or I would walk after work just to ensure that I got to that 10,000 mark. And in order to keep track of this, of course, I decided to purchase myself a watch on Amazon. Is this watch right here. This watch was actually $40, and as you can see, I still have it to this day. I still wear it. Like, it's one of my most worn watches. I really love it. It was only $40. I'm not an iPhone user. I do not have an Apple Watch. Did I plan to get one. I just wanted something that was affordable that I could use to track my steps. And so if you're interested in getting something like this, I am an Android user. Works well with my phone, works well with Google. What is that? Google Fit? I think it's Google Fit, right? You're able to sync it together. And so let's say you have your phone with you, but you didn't wear the watch. When you come home, you can kind of sync them together, and it works well just like that. I will have the watch linked in the description if it's something that you're interested in checking out. Now, step 3 revolves around food. And before I jump into it, let me just say food is the biggest contributor to your weight. And I'll say it again, food is the biggest contributor to your weight. Now, what I did is eat 2 meals per day. Is that something I still do to this day? Yes. Are there days where I may fall off? Yes, there are, but for the most part, this has been a lifestyle change for me, and that is something I was very intentional about before I started my journey. I know that there are different diets that people try. There's a OMA diet, things of that nature. I feel like when it comes on to stuff like those, they're not sustainable, and these are usually things that people do in their minds. They're thinking, okay, I'm just doing it to lose weight, I'm going to do it for this length of time. And what normally happens, because I've tried it too, I've done it, is that afterwards the weight comes back. So I thought to myself, what can I do? What lifestyle change can I make that will assist me in this journey? And it's something I see myself doing long term, like for a lifetime. And that was eating 2 meals per day. Now, can you eat 3 meals per day? Yes, you can. It just depends on what you're taking in. I didn't want to be super strict on what I ate, and so the 2 meals each day kind of worked for me. I had 1 light meal and 1 heavy meal, and I'm going to go into more details into what that looks like. So normally for me on a regular weekday, let me just say, I'm not a breakfast person. So most times in the mornings, I'm not really hungry. I don't get hungry until maybe like 10, 11 o'clock, right? So typically I don't even eat breakfast. So for me, the 2 meals a day kind of work perfectly well with my schedule. We get our lunchtime at 11 a.m., which works perfectly. So at that time is when I would break my fast. Now, if I had a light breakfast, I would have a heavy dinner. And when I say heavy, I don't mean like heavy, moderately heavy dinner, right? In comparison to breakfast. So a light breakfast for me would be something like peanut butter and bread, which I was very keen on the bread that I use. I either use Ezekiel bread or Dave's Killer bread. No, I still use them. Of course, I do incorporate the wheat bread here and there, but for the most part, those are the 2 breads that I would go for. So I would have that with peanut butter and then a banana. The banana, I could eat it on the side, or I could slice it and put it on top. Some people at my job thought I was weird for doing that, but that's one meal I would have. And I repeat meals, like I would literally eat that same thing from Monday to Friday. I kid you not, right? So that's an example of a light meal that I would have. Another example is just having nuts. I had a lot of protein at that time, so I would just buy, they have these big bags of peanut that they sell at what's that store that sells in bulk? Every time I keep forgetting the name. BJ's. They sell this big bag of peanut. They have it salted and unsalted. You choose. I go for salted because I don't like unsalted. I'm just not getting into the unsalted, but at the time I would eat the salted one. And I would just sit down and I would just shell out the peanuts and I would just eat that, and I would drink water. That's another key thing. You want to drink as much water as you can. Cut out the juice, cut out the drinks as much as you can. Not saying you can't have it, but try and drink more water. For me, it's a little bit easier because I just bring my empty bottle to work because they have fountains all around, so I would just refill my bottle, and I try my best to have like 3 of those bottles each day. So that's something that I did. 1 light, 1 heavy. So if I had a light breakfast, I'd have a heavier dinner. A heavier dinner will consist of, let's say, rice and chicken. I would make sure I do not eat more than 1 cup of rice. If I still feel hungry, I'll just pack my plate with more veggies. So I started getting into roasted green beans, roasted broccoli, because I realized that I love my vegetables roasted rather than steamed. Okay, and that was working quite well for me. So I would, at times I would make chicken fried rice a lot. That's something that I made a lot. Made chicken fried rice, I have like a cup of that, and then just bare green beans or like broccoli on the side. So that would be a heavy dinner. Light dinner, say I wanted to have like something heavier in the morning, like a chipotle or something. And typically when I get chipotle, I don't eat the entire. I normally get the bowl. I don't eat the entire thing. I'll probably eat a half to 3/4, but not the whole thing, because to me I feel like that's a lot. So yeah, if let's say I had something like that at 11, when I have my dinner, I would have something like a sandwich. This I also had a lot. So bagel with fried plantain and fried egg, that's something I love to this day. So yeah, that would be a light dinner for me. And the time frame for dinner, I believe, should be between 5 and 7. I kept my dinner within those time frames, closer to 5, 6, but the latest 7. Right? So these are things that you want to cut off at a certain time so that your body is still not working so much. So you have that window where your body has time to just kind of digest the food, you know. And that's how I am even to this day. There are days when I go ham because I'm just like, I just feel like I want to eat a lot, but then I have to kind of double back down. And I'm going to explain a little bit more how I'm able to keep track of that. All right. Now, step 4 is cutting out snacking. Snacking is the devil. Okay, and if you have to snack, just try your best to choose healthier options. For me, normally if I'm snacking, I tend to draw for more unhealthy stuff. I can only speak for myself, and so I decided to make the executive decision to just cut out snacking completely. Right now, I've loosened up a little bit more on that, because right now I'm maintaining. But in that period when I was focused on losing weight, I cut out the snacking completely. So that is something that also helps. Last but certainly not least, this is probably one of the most important steps: getting a scale. If you don't have one, get one. I chose to get one on Amazon. It's a digital scale. It's a digital Bluetooth scale, so I was able to connect it to my phone. So I was able to keep track of my weight, muscle mass, like a whole bunch of stuff. I'm gonna include a clip to show you guys exactly what that scale looks like.
Renfo is the name of the app that I use to track my weight. This is the app that is paired with the scale that I purchased on Amazon. So usually when you hit the app, as soon as you open, you're usually on the measurements page, and this page shows you your last weight. For me, it was 130 pounds, and this was on January 20th, 2024. And of course, it does give you different categories. So it shows your BMI, it shows your fat-free body weight. We don't need all that, but I'm just showing it to you because this is what comes with the app. You go over to trends, right? It shows you a record basically of all your weigh-ins, and my last one was, of course, 130, as I said, on January 20th. Before that, it was 127.2 pounds, which I recorded on September of last year. But of course, I do still weigh myself every day, but I don't use the app. So I don't pair the app with my phone. Ever since I've lost the weight, I don't really go into the app as much, but that's basically what I was doing. So if you scroll back, you will see the trend, and you will see that the first weigh-in was 161 pounds, and this was actually July, I want to say, last year, but my journey didn't start until September. So the first weigh-in for my journey would have been 161.8 pounds, which you will see there recorded on September 2nd. Now looking at it, you do see a trend where my weight is just decreasing as we go. My weight did fluctuate through this journey. However, I did delete some of the weights because I just wanted to have that smooth slope. So that's just me. But realistically, there will be days when your weight will go up and go down, right? So there you have it.
No, with the scale, I weighed myself every day. And I know it sounds crazy, but I believe in order to keep on track, in order to see what your body is doing, see how your body reacts to certain foods, you have to weigh yourself every day, or at least every other day, right? But do not let 2 days pass without weighing yourself. I did that and my weight just went. It just went. Like in my mind I was like, oh, I can see I gained a little weight, but in reality I gained a lot. Okay, and so you have to keep track of your weight, and that's something that I do even to this day, right? And as I had mentioned before, how I'm able to keep track of the different foods that I eat, and also the effect that it had on my body, was of course weighing consistently. So when I had certain meals, and that's how I knew that the rice was the devil. When I had certain meals, I could eat a super light meal in the morning, and in the evening I said, okay, let me get some rice, chicken, veggies, right? If I didn't have that 1 cup of rice and I had more, the next day I would see the pounds on the scale. Like everybody's body is different, so for me I can say my weight fluctuates a lot. I've always been that way my entire life. My weight fluctuates, so it can go between, you know, one day I can gain 2 to 3 pounds. I kid you not. Like I can weigh today and I'm 130, and then tomorrow weigh and I'm 133. It just depends on what I'm eating. That's how my body works. And so with weighing myself every day, I was able to kind of see how my body responded to certain type of food. And so even when I just started and I was going to do the bagel, the plantain and the egg, in my mind I'm like, it's not the fried stuff, you know. Oh, another thing I cut out, I started using avocado oil. I realized it's really good. It's more expensive, but that is something that I've been using as well. Avocado oil, right? At first I was like, this fry thing, like, how is this helping? But I realized when I had that sandwich, I felt full and it did not tip the scale whatsoever. And that was something that I had quite a lot, right? And clearly, as you can see, not super healthy or like, but it still allowed me to eat foods that I liked and still being able to lose the weight, right? So again, you just have to figure out what works for you, how your body reacts to different type of food. And of course, as I said before, you can do this by just simply weighing yourself. If I wake up one day and I realize that my weight is more than it was the day before, or significantly more, because of course, as I said before, it does fluctuate, but if it's significantly more, then I know that, okay, today I need to go super light. And so that is what I do to help to create that balance and be able to maintain even to this day, right? I still weigh myself every day or every other day, and I take the necessary steps to bounce back whenever I need to. I try my best to not let it get too far, because that is when things get harder, right? And I do not want to do that. It was a lot of work to get where I am. I'm comfortable where I am, and so at this point in time, I just want to maintain my weight. I don't even think I had mentioned it before, but as it is currently, I am 130 pounds. I do fluctuate. Sometimes I'm 3 pounds heavier, 2 pounds lighter. It just depends. To be honest, it kind of leads more on the heavier side, but I'm currently 130 pounds, coming from 161 pounds, right? It's really 163, but that day when I started my journey in September, I had lost 2 pounds, and so technically I lost 31 pounds. So right now I am sitting at 130, and I am 5'2", so clearly I'm very short, and so for my height, that is an acceptable or an ideal weight, right? I'm gonna add a bonus one in there. This is not a part of the 5 step, but I just want to say the fact that you're even watching this video, the fact that you're interested in making a lifestyle change speaks volume, and kudos to you. Big applause to you. Do not be too hard on yourself. Take it slow and steady. Do not try to expect to see results overnight. Your weight will fluctuate even while on the journey. There are times when you're doing certain things, making certain changes, but you realize your weight is going up. Do not be discouraged. Just keep being consistent. Stay consistent, and you will see results in the end, and you will be proud of yourself. I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this video right here. I hope this video was informative. I hope you guys learned something, and with that being said, I will see you guys in my next one. Also, if there are any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down in the comment section. I will respond to each and every one of them. All right, bye guys.